Talking about UFC 205, that's tonight. I don't like how, UFC is notorious for announcing some of their UFC cards as the greatest card ever. I just don't believe in that. I believe in watching it first and then predict, and then saying if it's the greatest card ever. Um, Kind of like Donald Trump winning the election, a lot of people either likes it or hates it, and to those who hates it, I would say, hey, I look at it like there's two Donald Trumps, There's a Donald Trump that we've seen for the past year who was running for the office, running for election. He won the election. Now let's see Donald Trump as president next year, and give him a year and then see what you think. Well, that's my take on it. UFC said UFC 100 was the greatest card ever. UFC 200 was the greatest card ever. And they said that about 15th anniversary of UFC, which I think was UFC 181. I think that was Robbie Lawler versus Johnny Hendricks 2 and Gilbert Melendez versus Anthony Pettis for the lightweight title. And I remember they built up that card very well. And I remember they even had like a comic book artist did a huge they did the promotional poster for for that card, and I remember they unveiled it on the stage at one of the press conferences, and I just remember it was such a huge card. I remember watching that card and that was boring and it sucked, and it's just UFC 205, like I said, they were saying that's the biggest card ever, and just like 2 months ago, Dana White was saying when Ronda Rousey returns, which is December, that's going to be the biggest card ever. So I think that's just very annoying. It's kind of like that saying that came out, shut the front door, just don't want to hear it anymore, Stop saying it's the greatest card ever. Until it happens, we don't know, I think it looks good on paper at best. I don't think it's great, and I definitely don't think it's bad, and it might turn out to be, like I said, after it's over, it might go down as the greatest card ever. But until that happens, don't say it's the greatest card ever. That's just my take on it. But starting off with Miesha Tate versus Pennington, I'm pulling for Miesha Tate. It's going to be interesting because if she gets past Pennington, Ronda Rousey returns next month, and she gets past Amanda Nunes, maybe there'll be a third match between them two. I know Miesha Tate really wants it. And I was thinking, because there's always Holly Holm too, but she lost her last two fights, and she's taking a break right now. But I'm sure we'll get a Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey too later on down the road. I don't think we'll ever see Ronda Rousey and Cyborg. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But moving on though, after that I think it was supposed to be Donald versus Kelvin, and that fight absolutely is not happening. But I like to see Donald win the title next year. That's all I have to say really about that. I didn't like that fight in the first place. I felt like Donald deserves a lot better. But I don't know if Dana White just thinks he's in that Roy Nelson's zone where, anybody out of the top 10 he can beat, but when you give him somebody in the top 10, he comes up short. If he's fighting for a title, he can't pull it off or whatever, and comes up short. So, I don't know, but I like to see him win a title next year, like I said. But moving on, Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero. Gonna be an interesting fight. Both are great wrestlers. Both have knockout power. I think I think Yoel Romero's gonna take it. I do. I think I think in the last fight they said that Chris Weidman's testosterone was below normal, and he's only 30, and the way, Yoel Romero, he goes in there, you know, especially for the first round, 2 rounds, you know, basic science, more muscle you pack, the more tired you're going to get as the rounds go by. But, for the first round, he's definitely a firecracker, and I think in the second round he'd be okay. Third round, if Chris was going to take it, I think it would probably be in the third round. But like I said, I think it's just I think it's going to be Yoel Romero winning tonight. I see that happening. I think he'll win by knockout or TKO. And then Chris Weidman's just too slow. I think when he fights, it's like in slow motion. It's like weird. After that fight, it's Joanna versus Carolina, and really not much to talk about there. To be honest, I'm still not, that division's still new to me, and I still don't think too many people is really too interested in it. Maybe I might get a lot of heat for that, not being biased or anything, but Joanna's no Ronda Rousey. That's just she's no cyborg. So. But I think she'll win tonight, Joanna. I pick her to win. I think she'll probably win by, I don't know, I think probably by decision. That's what I think. Either that or by finish. Probably TKO or something, but I was thinking, because I haven't really seen her fight too much, actually. But I know she's pretty good at stand-up, so should be an interesting fight. After that, the co-main event, Stephen Thompson versus Tyron Woodley. I have Stephen Thompson winning. I think I saw the weigh-ins, and I definitely believe in the height advantage and reach advantage, and I think with all that going to Stephen Thompson, and with his kickboxing history past, I think what he's going to do, I think he's going to mix up his punches and kicks, and he's going to holly home Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley is Ronda Rousey, and Stephen Thompson is Holly Holm, and I think, like I said, he's going to mix up his punches and kicks, and I think he's going to end up probably kicking Tyron Woodley's head off. But I definitely think he's going to win by knockout or TKO. That's what I think. Not downplaying Woodley, though. He is a beast. He's very athletic, very explosive, great wrestling, but like I said, the more muscle you pack, the more tired you're going to get. I can see him doing good for the first round. I think if Stephen can get past the first round, I think he's fine. I think if anybody has any doubts about Stephen Thompson, I think it's that first round. If he gets through that first round, that's something Robbie Lawler wasn't able to do. I think if Stephen can get through that first round, I think he'll be just fine. But at the end of the day, Tyron Woodley was knocked out by Nate Marquardt, and so, I mean, the guy has been knocked out, and, I think when you're going in there with a guy like Stephen Thompson, who's a world-class kickboxer, already established that, and you look at his MMA record, like, wow, he's up and rising, you know, first title fight, you know, he's like, was he 12-1 or 13-1, something like that in his, you know, in his MMA career. So his only one loss was by decision. So you know, technically, I don't think we've really seen this guy lose. You know, I mean, decision, I don't really count those as a loss. You know, I think it's lost to the viewers. You know, because if you purchase a pay per view, yeah, you like to see finishes. You know, but if it goes to a decision, you're like, ah, that kind of sucks. You know, I like to see a finish. But like I said, I pick Stephen Thompson to win that fight. The main event is obviously Conor versus Eddie Alvarez. I pick Conor to win that fight. They're both about the same height. Reach advantage definitely goes to Conor. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage, and that's big, especially when you're striking as good as it is if you're Conor McGregor. But Eddie likes to. He's a wild man, you know. He's a great wrestler, very athletic, very powerful, and if I was going to give him a name, I would name him, like, nickname him Pitbull. That's what he reminds me of for some reason. But he's not the biggest guy in the room, like height wise. But I mean, he's usually the shorter guy in the room. But I mean, he's so jacked up, you know, and he just reminds me of a pit bull. But I've noticed he has like that Vanderlei Silva style, you know, of striking. You know, he has big, wide, looping punches, and you know, Conor McGregor, he's a straight shooter, you know, and I think that's. I just think it's going to be a bad night for Eddie, you know. Conor's a straight shooter, and he doesn't miss, and he obviously has devastating power. So I think Conor's going to win by knockout. I can see it happening in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised. If not the first, definitely the second. But I think the first, for sure. But that's my thoughts on tonight. Let me know what you think.